Good evening. Thank you. Welcome. I am Daryl Simon Green, the Associate Art Director of Earth Tribe from CalArts Collective in Valencia. And we are very grateful to be here tonight. Thank you for your support always, and the gift of sharing what we find to be the greatest gift of all, celebrating the moments of life through puppetry. Our production of Fading Light as part of the Kill Cycle plays has not been easy, to say the least. But we invite you now to come with us into a journey of light and dark. Fading Light is the story of two twin brothers, one with a path that brought him to great heights, and the other one who wandered aimlessly at times, searching for answers, struggling. Now each story has two sides to each story, and while there are two twin brothers in this story, there will also be two sides to this story, not four stories, because technically that would be too confusing. So to avoid confusion, there will just be two sides, It's cleaner that way. Are we ready? Let's start the music. From the day they were born, there was a mysterious something that set them apart. When they were small boys, the older of the two, Tom, would climb to the top of a tree with his eyes on the horizon. The slightly younger of the two, Kurt, was always playing in alleys and enjoyed sleeping in the basement. But let's begin our story with the first brother, Tom. Tom always knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to go to school. He was curious. He was always inventing things, meeting people. He was president of the business club and of his class, and was the star volleyball player. He was loved and revered. His brother Kurt, oh, that's a little harsh, that noise, that sound. We turn the music down just a teeny tad, a little harsh on my ears. His brother Kurt, however, was a lost soul. Born of the same parents and yet so very, very different. Kurt liked to set things on fire. Anything. And he loved alcohol. He lived life not so much in the fast lane, but in the reckless lane. And he frequently changed lanes. Recklessly. Kurt loved his brother, but could not understand why they were so different. I mean, they looked exactly like each other. In their senior year of high school, something happened that hastened their drift away from each other. Tom was coming home from cheer squad practice, crossing through the woods. His brother Kurt was with a girl named Colleen. She was really, really, really drunk. Colleen had gone past her limit and had passed out. Kurt did not know what to do. About this time, Tom came upon his brother and the drunk, passed out, vulnerable Colleen.
Kurt, what's going on?
Tom! What are you doing here?
What did you do? What happened?
What did I do? Nothing. Why would you blame me?
I'm not blaming you. I just want to know what happened so I can help.
I'm sick and tired of you blaming me.
I'm not blaming you, and I'm your brother.
What are we gonna do?
We? What are we gonna do?
That's right, you're my brother.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Yes, thank you. We're going to find out what happens very shortly, but first we're going to take just a short intermission and maybe take some questions and talk a little bit about what our life is like working with the collective and just about, you know, our life in puppetry in general. First of all, I want to introduce our puppeteers. Kellen McVeigh is Tom. And Roger Hildegard is our Kurt. And Corbin Stoneman is Earth Tribe's ambient sound technician. So, first of all, are there any questions about what you're seeing tonight? And, you know, I don't know if you've seen the Kill Cycle plays with us before or ever seen the collective. But we're really, are there any questions? I guess that's my question. I can't see if there's hands up because of the lights. Yes, Corbin?
I have a question. As you know, as the audio sensory advisor, when I reach 12 rings, that has sort of mortal meaning for Kurt, and I think I got to 12 already by accident. So, you know, because it's like the death knell for Kurt. So can I go?
Well, I guess if you need to. Yes.
I mean, I time it out, and so that it's 12. That would be the death knell. But I think I already got there.
I see.
So, thanks, everybody.
Okay. Well, that's not the first time Corbin has been an issue. Are there any questions? I guess just...
How did you guys meet?
How did we meet? That's interesting. You want to take that, Kellen?
Well, in Minneapolis, but he goes ahead.
He's right, he's Minneapolis. We were in Minneapolis for a puppetry competition. I had arrived in Bellingham, Washington. Kellen was from Minneapolis.
Scranton first, and then Minneapolis.
You were living in Minneapolis at the time. I traveled there from Bellingham, Washington. And we were competitors, and we both tied for first place. And we were impressed with each other's work, and we formed a group, and we're working together ever since.
And I'm originally from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I met them at not that competition, but another competition that they were competing in puppetry. I have never really done puppetry, but I used to do lots of taxes for various theater groups, and I became very interested in what was going on with the puppetry, and I guess I just kind of left the tax business behind. I'm very happy I did so, because finding these people was a joy. I guess joy is the key word there, or happiness, or something like that.
Stories are metaphors for love.
They're in the tales of cycles.
Why is the brother portrayed as a green plastic bag?
Well, we make all of our own puppets. Why don't you go ahead and take that?
You may see a green plastic bag. Someone else may see a granite slab. Someone else may see a beautiful whale in the ocean. You know, it really is up to the beholder. Go ahead.
My purpose was always to break the monomyth that Joseph Campbell created in terms of the realism that is often portrayed in puppetry. Why not dissolve the post-European rod that was created, and why not honor it? And as Breck said, it's a hammer. You use a hammer, and this is my hammer.
Each puppeteer in the collective makes their own puppets. They create them, and we don't do it glibly. It takes years to create your own puppet. And then the stories that we use are, well, basically old Greek myths, lots of native Indian myths. This story here is a Hopi Indian story, and we try to modernize it so that people can maybe see through the ancient eyes a new way of seeing their modern
It
world.
also has a slight whisper and a hint toward Aeschylus and Iphigenia. Probably won't pick that up, but it's there. It's all metaphor.
It's layers and layers upon layers. A question about a green bag, as you saw, and a more lifelike portrayal as you see here. It's interesting, as mentioned, I am still currently working on this model. This puppet I've been working on for 17 years. He's almost there, but as do the rest of us, he's constantly evolving, and I think that's the way it should be.
Mhm.
I don't know if he'll ever be finished, frankly. And inside I hope he's not. Because I hope I'm not finished evolving.
We never do. I mean, I think you're absolutely correct about that. We never do. There's no single person that could say, I'm 100% evolved, because we're not, and the same can be said of our puppets.
And the other thing I would just like to note, the thing that I find most captivating about puppetry is the spirit of the puppet. It's not just an inanimate object. It is a spirit-filled persona, and it may need a little help once in a while to evoke that spirit and to bring it out loud. But maybe we all need a little. Maybe we all need a little help sometimes doing it.
I think you're absolutely correct about that. I mean, and the spirit is what this is all about. At the collective, when anyone dies, and we lost Raymond and we lost Ellen 2 years ago, we have a ceremony for the person. We also have ceremonies for their puppets. And we bury them the same way we do. Raymond and Ellen were buried with their puppets. And it's kind of brings it full circle.
What we offer is catharsis. It's very, I'm going to say this, I don't say this often, but it's very noisy in the audience tonight.
It's okay. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
Who were your favorite puppets growing up?
Well, Tay Williams, who I worked with in St. Louis for about 9 years, is what we call a master puppeteer. Mainly works with paper mache and human hair. He is an artist above all artists. He produces agonorsis, which is similar to catharsis, but it's more of a purging.
I was inspired by a man named Rodney Jaspers. He studied kabuki theater and brought that into his world of puppetry. And the interesting thing about him was he didn't use puppets at all. And yet you saw them, they were there.
That's what they call no theater.
Yeah.
No puppets.
Yeah. He was the pioneer of that.
Yeah, he was the pioneer for sure. I didn't have a favorite puppet when I was growing up. I mostly was in love with numbers. But now I do love puppets. Anyway, were there any other questions?
What's the original Hopi name for Tom and Kurt?
Do you know your Hopi names? I certainly hope so.
Tanak Dakni Yakal.
You don't. Roger is he's still evolving that. Well, should we get back to find out what's going to happen with Tom and Kurt? Or if there's one more question, maybe we can take that. Either way.
What's the best place to study puppetry?
Well, Canada.
Canada is top. Canada or Sweden has a nice program. I would say Canada or Sweden.
There's beautiful Swedish puppet programs. Really wonderful stuff.
I will say the Balinese puppet program is a scam. And the opera maker Peter Sellers made sure of that.
We do have summer programs for the kids. We're offering any
This summer.
this summer, yeah. For the children. We don't offer adult classes. We bring people in as children, and then as you evolve into an adult, we keep you on if you're qualified. I started when I was 9. You?
It costs $6,000 for just the August session.
We do evening workshops. It's an evening, once a week evening workshop for adults. And it's usually in that place just down Berendo where they have the AA meetings. It's
We do
right
all
after
meet
the
at-
AA meeting.
Meet at the Red Robin, the Glendale Galleria afterwards, and generally have some French fries and milkshakes. We socialize. We don't just
Malted shakes, we have malted
we
shakes.
socialize.
So, let's find out what happens with Tom and Kurt. We need to take a minute, I think, to just let it settle. Many years after the incident in the woods with Colleen, Tom went on to be president of his own company, flying around the world in Lear jets and meeting with important dignitaries from around the world. He established a non-profit company along with his other companies that turned profit, and he gave food to people who couldn't afford food and couldn't walk. He married his high school sweetheart. They had 2 children and had everything that life could offer. But one day, when he was very young and vibrant, he threw up at work. And then he developed a cough that wouldn't go away. His body slowly withered, and he became a shell of the Tom that everyone knew and loved. Tom, a man who had everything, maybe even more than everything, now became the man who had nothing. When Tom passed away, hundreds of people came from all over the world to celebrate his life. One lonely figure stood on the outskirts of the crowd, listening to world leaders speak about the greatness of Tom. This figure was Kurt. And like George Harrison said, all things must pass. And after saying all the beautiful words about Tom, the world leaders walked away. Tom's wife and children walked away. All those who professed love and admiration for Tom walked away, all except for one lone figure, Kurt. Kurt kept watch at Tom's gravesite until the end of his days. And when he himself passed into the next world, someone was there waiting for him. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Kellen. And, for everybody here at Earth Tribe, both on the stage and behind the scenes, it takes approximately 100 people to put on one of our productions. Wardrobiers, costume people, makeup people, the bus driver. We've filled maybe 2 buses with our equipment, and we should want to thank everyone. I can't really name them by name because that would take a long time, but we do want to thank you for our chance to tell our story, telling our story in the only way that we know how, celebrating the moments of life through puppetry. Thank you.